Mr. President, I rise this afternoon and joined with my friend from Rhode Island as well as a co-sponsor to speak about a critical issue affecting millions of Americans around the country. And that is the question of lack of jobs and the need to help those who, through no fault of their own, find themselves without a job, trying to hold things together for their family, trying to keep moving, looking for work at a time that is incredibly difficult for our country. So I rise to speak and to offer S3706, the Americans Want to Work Act, and to ask that our body act on this today, now. Mr. President, Americans want to work. That's just a fact. That's just a fact. People want to work. But this is the worst recession in our lifetime, the worst since the Great Depression. Millions of people are out of work through no fault of their own, and they need our help. Things are beginning to turn, but it is painfully slow, and too many families are caught in the middle of this. Nationally, we know that the unemployment rate stands at 9.6%, much higher in my home state of Michigan. And of those, 42% of those who've been out of work have been out of work for more than 27 weeks, and many of them, too many of them, much longer. And the reality is, as much as people want to work, there just frankly aren't enough jobs. When people say, well, why don't folks just go out and get a job? Why don't they just go out and get a minimum wage job? Well, the reality is, Mr. President, that 5 people are out of work for every 1 job that's available. That's a fact. Now, it's better than it was. I mean, at one point that was 6 for 1 job opening. So we're creeping along. But the reality is that we still have 5 people out of work for every 1 job. It's not their fault that they can't find a job in this circumstance. We know there are about 3 million jobs available nationally, and there are more than 15 million people who need a job. We can't just walk away from them, from this circumstance caused by an economic tsunami, between the crisis on Wall Street, between our lack of focus over the last decade on fair trade laws. We've seen too many jobs being shipped overseas, which we tried to address yesterday and couldn't get any of our Republican colleagues to support us on, to be able to get past that. But there's multiple things that have happened, but none of them caused by the people who have lost their jobs. This is a moral issue as well as an economic issue. And that's why I've authored the Americans Want to Work Act. And I want to thank all of the co-sponsors of that. First, I want to thank our majority leader, Senator Reid, who has given us opportunity today to make the case and who understands the incredible urgency of this issue. To Senator Schumer as well, who's been a great partner in this effort in combining an extension of unemployment benefits with his very successful HIRE Act to be able to give a 1-2 punch. I also want to thank Senator Brown of Ohio, Senator Casey, Dodd, Durbin, Levin, Senator Reid of Rhode Island, Senator Gilderbrand, Senator Lautenberg, and Senator Whitehouse. Our bill does 2 things, Mr. President, to help people who have been out of work the longest. It creates a new tier of unemployment insurance that extends benefits for an additional 20 weeks. And it extends and expands Senator Schumer's HIRE Act tax credits to encourage companies to hire those workers who have been looking for work the longest. I realize this is the longest extension of unemployment benefits ever. I understand that. But this is also the worst recession in our lifetime. And we also need to understand that. I have received so many phone calls and letters from people all across my state who are trying so hard to look for work. They're out every single day pounding the pavement or checking the internet. They're filling out applications. They're sending out resumes. They're making phone calls, trying so hard to find a job so they can put food on the table for their family and, frankly, keep their head above water, try to keep their house above water, to be able to have a roof over their head while they're looking for work. They want to work. They don't want to be getting unemployment benefits. They don't want to be in this situation. They want the dignity of having a good paying job so they can provide for themselves and their families. I want to share just one of the thousands of stories that I've received over the last months. And it comes from Janice in Sterling Heights, Michigan. At the age of 54, she writes, I have already worked 35 years of my life. Back when I was young, there was always talk of 30 and out. Never once did I dream at my age that I would be unemployed for over a year. That even though I apply for any job I am qualified for, I never hear back. Now all I have to look forward to is working until the day I die, wondering whether my health care is where it's going to come from, and how I'm going to be able to continue to pay my bills. I don't know how long I can hang on until my current unemployment benefits run out. I have nothing, nowhere to go if evicted. And I'm so angry because I was brought up that working hard all your life is what you're supposed to do to have a home and a family and a retirement. Mr. Chairman, that's exactly what we're talking about. People who do nothing but work hard and play by the rules and have found them in a situation that they did not create. And she goes on to say, I'm angry and disappointed in the government because they're taking away benefits I've expected to be there after working for 35 years and paying into the system. There are millions of stories like Janice's, not just in Michigan, but in every single state. We have been working hard to create jobs, to get the economy back on track. We've passed, according to Business Week, 4 major jobs bills, including the small business jobs bill that we just passed a couple of weeks ago in the Senate, and the President just signed on Monday. And that's expected to raise hundreds of thousands of jobs. But the reality is that we're in a situation where the majority of our Republican colleagues voted no on the small business jobs bill. They blocked yesterday our ability to bring up a bill to close loopholes, to stop jobs being shipped overseas. And we now stand asking that they not block again help for people that can't find work because this economy is not moving fast enough. I hope today my colleagues will join me in passing the Americans Want to Work Act. We shouldn't walk away from so many Americans who are looking for work and need our help. And I urge colleagues to join us in saying yes on something. Say yes to the millions of Americans who want to work.